So Amalek here is a people that represent a spiritual battles. These are the enemies of God and the enemies of God's people. Amalek is, if you remember, going back to Genesis, the son of Esau. He's one of the sons of Esau. He is a nephew of Jacob through Esau, a great-grandson, I guess you would say, of Abraham. So they are related. They're relatives. His name means, you can translate it, one who licks up blood, or a warlike person, which usually they're the ones who shed blood, right? A warlike person. So that's what the Amalekites were like. They were warrior-type people who were constantly shedding blood. They were like the terrorists of the day. And they didn't really have a homeland. We find the Amalekites just being like marauders, just being like people that travel through different areas and dwelled in tents and then pillaging place to place. So they didn't really have a home, even though Esau was from Edom. He settled in Edom. The Amalekites traveled everywhere. And they're the first enemy. God says, this is who you're going to fight. And it's interesting, not only is it the first fight, but if you remember the prophecy of Balaam, Numbers 31 to 33, the last prophecy of Balaam, but there were 4 prophecies that he gave. Remember, Balak hires him to curse Israel. This is after Moses struck the rock when he shouldn't have, the second time, right? And Israel's in a very deep problem spiritually. God delivers them because Balaam is going to curse them, but he does not allow them to be cursed. And Balaam even says, how can I curse whom God has blessed? There was protection. God was protecting them. So Balaam tries to curse them, but every time he curses them, a blessing comes out in a prophecy. And one of them, the last one, is where we get the Star of Jacob. It's the Star of Bethlehem. There will be a star coming out of Jacob, talking about the coming of Jesus. But then in the very same prophecy, he also speaks of the return of Jesus. Because it says, when this Star of Jacob comes back, he will crush the head of the enemy. He will destroy the sons of chaos, the Amalekites. And what Balaam says is that the Amalekites were the first enemies of God, and Balaam says there will also be his last, or one of the last enemies of God will be the Amalekites. And God has a perpetual fight against the Amalekites. God says to Moses, write this down, make it a memorial, recite it to Joshua, because I am going to blot out the Amalekites. I'm going to blot them out.